So, we're recording now. Okay, well, thank you to everyone who joined us today. I'm Susan Assadi, and I'm the Executive Director of the Global Chamber New York City, and really pleased that people took the time to join us this morning, this afternoon, or this evening. I know we're around the world here at the Global Chamber, so I really want to thank you for taking this time. As I said a little bit early, if you don't mind, please mute your audio during the course of the presentations. Near the end, we might be opening it up for open conversation. But if during the course of the presentations you do have some questions for the presenter, it'd be best if you just direct them directly to Nicole Polidoro, who is our moderator, or myself, Susan Assadi, and we'll do our best to get those questions answered. So for those who are not familiar with Global Chamber, we are a growing global community of CEOs, executives, and leaders in over 525 metro regions around the world. If you're seeking to grow your business in more than one metro or more than one country, please consider joining our chamber if you haven't already. What we do is we leverage our millions of connections and the global tribe for more productive success for your business. And we're focused on helping companies grow within and across metropolitan areas, and we're in over 200 countries at this point. So we believe we're the only organization in the world with these hundreds of locations that can help you grow sustainable business through warm connections and timely information like we're going to be discussing today. We're on a mission to help you make it easy to do business as quickly across the world as you're doing it across the street or with your neighbor. So today we're going to be talking about navigating international shipping and cargo security. And I want to introduce our moderator, Nicole Polidoro, who is on our advisory board and of the Global Chamber New York City and is the multimodal logistics manager, Port Authority of New York and New Jersey. She joined the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey in November 2019. She works in the Port Department's Business Development Industry Relations Division as the multimodal logistics manager, focusing on growing and utilizing rail network in the Port of New York and New Jersey. And before taking on this role in January 24, she was the Northeast Regional Account Manager, which is when I got the opportunity to meet her when we were both participating in World Trade Week, New York City. And we actually many of us on this call just participated in that event. And this actually is one of the World Trade Week New York City events because we are during this month promoting presentations such as this one that address global trade. Nicole is responsible for managing relationships with port users and customers to promote the Port of New York and New Jersey, as well as enhance the existing customer experience and develop new business opportunities. So thank you, Nicole, for being such an active member of our chapter and serving on the advisory board and moderating this Globinar. So please go ahead.
Thank you so much, Susan, for that wonderful introduction. I'm honored to be part of this webinar on navigating current international shipping and cargo security. When Susan asked me to moderate this excellent panel, I was excited to be part of something that we could really help people understand the importance of how world events can affect your supply chain. Prior to COVID, not many understood what supply chain was and the importance it is to moving goods into the US, especially when there were delays on certain items you were getting, such as your toilet paper. There was a lot of issues when COVID first hit. I'm not sure if you all know, but the majority of your clothes you're wearing or in your closet have come from overseas. So every person on this panel right now plays a very important part of moving your cargo into the gateway and can assist you if you're a new business looking to move cargo through an entity of the supply chain. But today you'll hear from 4 supply chain experts to explain how their business works and how they keep the cargo fluid in the US and into your home. I encourage you to ask questions to better understand the issues they're facing and some of the world events that can affect your cargo movement. Like Susan said, if you want to address them directly to me in the chat, we can. At the end, we can raise hands and we can unmute you and you can ask directly. But we're hoping that this is really a very interactive webinar because I think a lot of it is important stuff that you really want to hear about. So let me start with our first speaker. I'd like to introduce Rado Seregi. Rado is the manager of shipper outreach with the Port of New York and New Jersey and our business development industry relations. He's a seasoned veteran of the industry with 30 years of experience working with ocean carriers and trucking companies. Rado, the floor is yours.
Well, it helps when you can find a mute button or unmute.
Right.
Thank you, Nicole. Really appreciate being here. I'm trying to see if I can share my screen somehow. No, I can't. All right, we're good. All right. Well, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, everyone. I'm very pleased to be here. My name is Rado Saragi, as Nicole mentioned. I've been with the agency for about 8.5 years. But prior to that, my responsibility, my career has been with the ocean carriers and also the trucking industry for a little bit of that before joining the agency. About the agency, it was established in 1921 as the first nation's bi-state agency, and we are, as the name says itself, we basically represent both New York and New Jersey, and our responsibility is to build, operates, and maintains many of the most important transportation and trade infrastructure assets in the country through rail, land, air, and sea. So our mission is simple: to keep the region moving. The port district was established by the agency, basically 25-mile radius from the Statue of Liberty. Again, our responsibility, as you can see here from the map, primarily transporting goods and people between the two states and also around the world by either air, land, rail, or sea. The port department where I belong and Nicole are basically we are the second largest, busiest port in the nations today, and we are the busiest and the biggest in the East Coast. And the numbers here speaks for itself. We are primarily a container business in terms of our port operations, but we're beyond that, as you can see here on the map, that we also have cruise operations, bulk carrier, and also auto. We have the greater access to the consumer market. As you can see on the presentation, we could reach about 13.3 million people within 1 hour and 46 million people in 4 hours. But that's basically by wheels, and by rail, we can certainly reach as many, even more than 130 million people, when we could reach all the way to the Midwest as well as the Eastern Canada. In comparison to the other ports, our competing ports, so you can see on the numbers there, certainly we have the access and the population density in the Northeast. Speaking of access, we certainly have improved our rail program. We spent $600 million on that, 4 express rail facilities operated by 2 Class 1 rail operator, CSX and Norfolk Southern, whom you may already know. We have a capacity of about 1.5 million lifts in terms of container conversation, but our volume as of 2023 is only 629,000 lifts, which really says that we have a lot of capacity to handle the volume growth in the very near future. Our canals, as we were talking about the movement of goods, and also as Nicole mentioned, some possible disruptions in our industry. Our canals have been, as you all know, have helped the globalization and also providing us access to other countries, but from speed of movements, and making Asia more commercially accessible, and obviously expanding colonial trade due to reduced friction and distance. So that helps us out a little bit. But obviously the challenges that we face today, you may have already heard, is affecting the volume and also the supply chain as a whole. 2 canals, different challenges. As I don't want to read this through for you, but certainly you understand the synopsis or the highlight of those 2 canals challenges, where Panama Canal has been affected by the drought. I believe that's been improving a little bit today, where the the daily transit of a vessel was reduced from the normal 36 on a daily basis, was as low as 20s. And it's actually going up to 31 as of today, if I read correctly. So that's a lot of the improvement on the Panama Canal transit, whereas the Suez Canal remains affected by what's happening with the Houthis and so on, where the ocean carriers are basically avoiding the Suez Canal and ship around the Cape of Good Hope, which obviously affects the distance and the capacity, right? As you can see that from this map, according to the shiptraffic.net, it says that there's between the port of New York, New Jersey to Singapore by way of Suez, it's about 11,200 nautical miles. Whereas when you add the distance around the Cape of Good Hope, becomes almost 16,000 nautical miles. So with that, it takes a lot more capacity. It takes more time, obviously. And certainly, if you could see the difference here, well, how that affects the logistics or supply chain, you can see here the goods transported between Kandla, India to Newark via Suez is 19 days, whereas going through the Cape of Good Hope is about 36 days. So this is what we want to be talking about. So we certainly have been monitoring these both canals very closely, and we hope that we can help you clarify or answer any questions you may have with affecting us. Again, my name is Rado Sargi. I'm with the Port Authority of New York, New Jersey, and thank you for your time.
Rado, thank you so much. It really makes you aware of different things that happen in the world as far as like a Panama Canal drought that can affect cargo coming to the East Coast. Like you said, Port of New York, New Jersey being the largest on the East Coast, and we're about 75% first port call. So when cargo's coming in, they're stopping in our gateway first, which obviously the global chamber, we're affecting all of our consumer demand that is very local. So
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Rado.
Thank you.
And now we're going to hear from Monica Vares, founder and CEO of Vares Insurance Brokerage. Monica leads a team in providing tailored insurance solutions to business leaders, both domestically and internationally. Monica understands the importance of cargo insurance, and today she'll show you why it's so important. There you go, Monica.
Thank you, and hello, everyone. I'm sorry I don't have a presentation with me because I'm in Mexico and I'm a part of another event here. But thank you, Nicole, and thank you, everyone that is being here today. Like she said, I'm a commercial insurance broker. I'm licensed in the USA and able to work with the 50 states. And I'm also work with international clients. We provide very range of different business in the insurance market and also with the financial products. Our experience in the international market has brought us to create this brokerage. And again, we assist international companies entering the US market and also local companies working already in the USA. I believe Susan has a couple questions for me.
Actually, you're going to get the questions from Nicole. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. And thank you, Monica. What people don't understand is that they want to move cargo from, overseas to the US, and the importance of having cargo insurance. As we all, got to see what happened in Baltimore, that tragedy, that vessel right there, those containers, if they were not insured, everyone had lost mostly everything that was on that vessel. So insuring your containers is very important. And Monica's definitely someone that can help you make sure that you're insuring the right amount and what is needed to move cargo. Okay, now we're going to move on to our next speaker, Hamad Husseini, President and CEO of Miami Global Alliance. Hamid has over 4 decades of leadership in the areas of shipping and freight forwarding. Hamid is known globally as he is having built organizations from the ground up in shipping and third-party logistics. And I have been honored to work with Hamid in the past when I was on my ocean carrier side. So Hamid, welcome.
Thank you so much, Nicole. Hello, everybody. Good afternoon, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to my global viewers. Yes, this is Hamid Husseini. I'm right now President and CEO of Miami Global Alliance. I'd like to share my kind of presentation. Let's go with that. And okay, we are Miami Global Alliance. We have a registered office and presence in Miami too. That's how the name came. And our headquarters are in New Jersey, being East Coast's biggest port. We do have license from Federal Maritime Commission for ocean, Department of Homeland Security or TSA, and IATA also for air cargo, and Federal Motor Commission, Safety Administration for land transportation. That may entitle us to make contracts, which is a negotiable rate contracts from carriers, ocean carriers, air carriers. That's how we serve. So in technical term, under the Federal Maritime Commission, we are ocean transport intermediary. So we play a role of intermediary between the actual users, importers and exporters, and the carriers, ocean carriers or air carriers or land carriers. We are also being defined as a non-vessel operating common carrier because we don't own the vessel, but we do have capacity to sell our rates and issue our own bills of lading. That's what the big difference between a freight forwarder and NVOCC. Having that power of issuing our own bills of lading, which is negotiable all over the world with any institution, that give us a power of facilitating our customer the way they want to prepare documents and negotiate. Now, what we do is that we take care of total logistics for importers and exporters. Now, let's talk about exporters. Now, exporters, somebody want to export something, they may be wondering, okay, I know my buyers is there, and how can I start shipping? So we can give a free consultancy on how to make the cargo packed to make it more economical by ocean or sea and acceptable to the carriers also. So our services starts from that point till it has been delivered. Now that also entails loading advices on how to load, and then which route to adopt, and what are the insurance to take for that to make sure that you are well covered. Then pre-shipment inspections like SGS and COTECNA. Some countries in Africa, the government demands that. Then documentation negotiation through a letter of credits, validation of documents by consulars or embassies, attestations from chambers, all that we arrange. So in short, what we try to do is that we want our customers to focus more on their business, core business, rather than get entangled into the nitty-gritties of logistics. That's how we try to give a total peace of mind and worry-free. In fact, our mission is like that: courteous services, personalized services, and make our customers worry-free for all importers and exporters. Now, we also give a warehousing facility, like for big machines. If somebody need, like, then we also arrange for plant and machineries, rigging, packaging, and then also documentation, as I told you. In the warehousing, we do have distributions for importers and consolidations for exporters. So we provide nationwide services all over the USA. We have our own warehouse, and also we use our partners in this. So talking about, we start the business like if somebody want a door delivery. Now, for all the exporters and importers, I just want to make sure that they know when they sell their goods or when they buy their goods, they should be very well aware of INCO terms. INCO, IN stands for international and CO for commercial, international commercial terms, which comes out of International Chamber of Commerce based in Paris. So that those terms defines the importers and exporters responsibility during the transit. Who is responsible for what charges? So I encourage every importers and exporters to understand those and understand what responsibilities you are carrying while you are exporting or importing the goods. So the trucking is the one which again we do for not only for the container, LTL, FTL, and big project cargos. Now in the project cargos, most of our customers, as they do overseas customers, when they buy, they just give a fully paid invoice. And we take the orders from the, say, auction houses or the seller's yard. They say, okay, I bought it X work. Now the X work entails the total responsibility of buyer to take care from the door of the seller. In certain cases, it is the auction houses. So we take care from there. We pick up those machines in a regular or a special, whatever the type of inland trailers required. We take care of that. And then we move it to the port or our yards near the port, where we dismantle and pack it into various type of equipments, if like overgauge cargo, which can go into a flat rack or a open top or a platform even. And or we can take care of break bulk cargo or roll-off, roll-on cargo. So there are a variety of things. So in ocean freight, we are well certified for hazardous cargo movement. We have the certification for that. We have rigging facility. We do all over US dismantling and packaging out of gauge consignments, and we arrange door to door. And we also do consolidation and pick and packing in our warehouses. Now, talking about air freight, which is very time sensitive cargo and also very sensitive for value of the cargo. That's why we take care of that, and we do refrigerated or temperature controlled cargos like lobsters, ice creams. We load it by using dry ices and cold storages for that. Then we also, of course, we have done in livestock horses, which is my hobby also, which is my passion. And livestock horses we ship. And the laptops are very common from US. We take care, which involve lithium battery and very sensitive cargo while we are moving for that. So that's what we do. Now our roles as intermediaries. Now we provide total expertise to our customers, which includes, as I said, packaging, insurances, or inspections, all those kind of things. And we update them from the latest problems or navigation problems and rules and regulations. Like these days, because of the Baltimore Bridge or Suez Canal, what things are going, we keep them very well aware of the cargo arrival dates and all, so that they don't get surprises. Now, optimizing transportation involve, packaging and minimizing their cost by optimizing optimum use of the space in a container or whatever is the unit we are doing. And we take care of their customized solution to provide them different value-added services, documentation, legalization, risk mitigations. We have insurance of different type of insurance to cover their cargo through our partners, and we provide them inside story. Of course, customer support is 24/7 as we keep opener. So some of the major project cargoes, as you see on the this we moved from New Zealand, a huge pulverizing plant, to west of Virginia. These are all our oil and gas cargo. This is a dry ice. We loaded dry ice, then we used this for lobsters. This is ice cream going in a refrigerated container. This is the cars, how we move how we load those cars. 2, 3, 4 cars in a container. This is a livestock, the horse going in a stall. Now, as Rado has mentioned about the Red Sea, so we are well aware of that, and we provide our customer full knowledge of what is going on, and how much it takes extra time, and what's costing. Their extra cost for this rerouting is around $300 to $400. For Baltimore cargo also, we are taking care of that. We are trying to move those cargo via Norfolk or New York or Philadelphia, because few of the ocean carriers are calling Philadelphia port also. So we take care and minimize the cost of their exports and imports. And that's all from my side. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, we'll go when the Q&A opens.
Thank you, Hamid. Now, it really shows that you handle from the beginning to the end for your customers. And that's really important, because an everyday person could say, hey, I want to move from here to Italy. How can I do it? And you could take their household goods, their cars, their furniture, and you can move it to Italy for them. It's really important to be
Absolutely.
an NVO, and you have those working relationships directly with the ocean carriers. So I thank you so much. And then
My
on to our
pleasure.
last
Thank you.
speaker, Jamil Lewis Johnson. Jamil is a licensed custom broker at Just Your Broker, a firm that specializes in U.S. import-export customs clearance with a focus on compliance. Over the 7 years in the industry, Jamil has diversified her skill set in custom clearance across various commodities. Just Your Broker can assist you with all your cargo needs. I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you. Hamid, can you just stop sharing your screen so I can share? You guys see my screen? Okay, good. Hi, everyone. My name is Jamil Lewis Johnson. I'm the CEO and founder of Just Your Broker, Inc. These are my slides just to give you guys a brief idea about who I am within Global Chamber. I'm part of the New York City Chapter Board Advisory. So some information about my customs brokerage. I'm a licensed customs broker. In New York, we specialize in import-export customs clearance with a primary focus on compliance, duty drawback, customs broker exam training, FDA registration, import-export training, and many more. Some of our commodity experience is live plants, live and dead animals, motor vehicles, food, clothes, alcohol, and so much more. We have different PGA experience, which is participating government agencies, FDA, DEA, USDA, EPA, CPSC, Fish and Wildlife, FWS, DOT. So we deal with a lot of different government agencies, and now also TTB for alcohol. So within this, the topics today, I'm going to kind of describe some of my role in here, and some of the things we already touched on, I won't go back over. So in reference to the Panama Canal, the most important thing I want you to get from these slides is that the Panama Canal helps to reduce transit time and costs, faster shipping routes, which is very important for anyone that's importing or exporting. Other things that you want to be mindful of is with the drought that Rado mentioned earlier, the pricing went up with a lot of the steamship lines. So that's additional costs that you have to pay. So think about that when you guys are making plans for your routing. Where's your shipment traveling to? Because it might cost you more money. So increase of freight costs 2.5 to 3 times if you're going through the Suez Canal, which we know there's a lot of issues with right now. Doubled it from China to the US. Extended transit times when you can't go through the Panama Canal. So a lot more money. So you may have to increase the pricing of your products that you're selling. So the issue with the Baltimore port closure, a lot of the steamship lines that I've seen, they basically were diverting everything to another port. So think about you're waiting for your shipment to come. Now all of a sudden you don't have a trucker in that area. So who's making arrangements for that? So the shippers had to move freight or face delayed charges. Ocean carriers not updating their vessel transits fast enough to alert them of new diverted ports for customers' container pickup. So there's a lot of like scrambling last minute, which is a big concern for me, because if I'm managing your freight, now I gotta like scramble and see what's going on. Where is it now? How do I coordinate this? There's a lot of changes. Also, their ocean carrier like Maersk, which was a good thing I saw, they provided transportation for diverted ports for customers. So that would be a good thing. I'm like, oh, if I was a customer, I would like, I want to work with Maersk for that reason. With the Houthi rebel attacks, it's still ongoing. I don't know how long that's going to be, but reduced use of the Suez Canal, which Rado mentioned earlier. So the travel time is much longer. Just keep thinking about that. You can't get your product right away to sell it. So one of the most important things that you guys need to take, what should you do to protect your international cargo and achieve successful trade mitigating the volatile market? So you want to plan ahead. So you guys know what's going on in the news. You know all these issues that are going on. You should be giving yourself extra time to allow your freight to come. So don't wait till last minute to book anything for your clients. You might want to have extra supplies on hand. So get a little bit extra when you're booking your stuff. So plan like an extra 2-3 months on top of the normal shipping schedule, because just in case anything happens, you cover yourself. That's the most important thing. During the pandemic, there were so many issues. The freight costs went up so much that you guys think about how much more money you were losing and how much more money you had to increase your prices for your customers. So think about all those things when you're shipping. Another thing, knowing your import rules and regulations. Don't just ship things and then be surprised later when there's any penalties and fees, or you're missing an import permit or important documentation that you need from origin. It's very important. A lot of the clients I deal with tend to not know what the rules and regulations are, and it costs them a lot of money. Like not filing your ISF, there's a $5,000 penalty if you don't file on time. So really look into your rules and regulations. There's plenty of videos on YouTube, cbp.gov, a lot of resources right there for you to look at. In reference to issues with truckers, always have a backup plan. So be prepared for your trucker all of a sudden not to pick up your freight. During the pandemic, I actually had a trucker that couldn't pick up my container last minute. I had to scramble for another trucker because it would have incurred more fees. We couldn't afford to pay more fees. So have extra truckers on hand. Truckers are very important. So call the ports to see if they can get an extension, free time. Try to work with whoever you're dealing with. Talk to them. They know what's going on. So if you can get an extension, try to get that. Take advantage of those, any connections you may have. Another thing, when we talked about the Baltimore port and also everything going on with the war and everything right now, properly seal your containers. So let's say you can get that container back. You want to make sure everything's properly sealed. So you want to follow CBP's recommended seal procedures and best practices. They have that right on their website. And so the main thing to take from that, they have everything broken down by the type of person that you are, the importer, exporter, manufacturer, consolidator, cross-border, highway carrier, domestic highway carrier. So look at to see what your role is in sealing the container, and make sure you follow CBP's best practices, because, you know, if you're going to get in trouble from anybody, you're going to get in trouble with CBP. So you want to follow what they tell you to do, right? So you want to seek other shipping routes to avoid conflicted areas. So everything going on right now, if you were to ship from these areas, you're not going to want to ship in areas that you know there's issues right now, because then you're not going to get your freight so much later. So just really think, you want to really think about the whole process. Look into buying from other countries. So right now, there's a lot of other countries with free trade agreements, by the way, that you can buy from, and you don't have to worry about dealing with these issues that are going on right now. So just think about that. Well, the whole process is all about like thinking ahead, planning, so you can cover yourself. And if you guys want to reach out to me to assist, I also do documentation review. That's another big thing that's very important. So if you're importing, exporting, you're shipping your goods, always have someone look it over yourself. Learn how to look it over yourself. But if you can't, hire someone like me. I'm a customs broker. I like to review documentation so that we can avoid any delays or any issues with your shipment. And here's my contact details and some of the services I provide. Thank you guys for coming.
Thank you so much, Emil. I mean, part of what you do is the most important part of moving cargo, because of all those acronyms you said in the beginning, FDA, all of those associations, agencies, they expect when cargo is moving through any gateway that people are already informed and know what they're doing. So someone that doesn't do this daily, you're definitely a great asset to have when moving cargo. I did have a question for you from the audience. Is there an estimate loss figure associated with shippers not filing docs on time?
An estimated loss? I wouldn't say an estimated. The only thing like I know for sure with ISF is that $5,000 penalty. That's usually most of the time when I do have people that interact with that, I don't know when it's going to happen, but when they do get caught, that's per incident. So remember, you could have multiple shipments on the water that can increase like by however many shipments you have. In reference to documentation, I usually review documentation. As soon as I get the documents, I like to review it. And if I see anything out of place or that's missing, I try to get that corrected right away. One of the things I like to do is I like to tell them, connect me with your supplier on the email, and I can just advise easier because I understand what needs to be done. Because sometimes explaining it to the import, they don't understand it. So I'm like, just let me do it. So keep me in copy on the email. I'll respond to them. I'll tell them what to fix. And it's much quicker because I can explain it and they usually understand because they're in the industry too.
Yes. There was another question for you as well. When you say dead animals, can you clarify what kind of animals?
So I actually have a client right now. He imports dead insects. So like butterflies, beetles, I think it was a bat too. I have a couple of shipments I got to work on soon. So it has to clear fish and wildlife. So he's able to import those, but he needs a fish and wildlife import-export permit. And then I have to file it with Fish and Wildlife. It's a whole process that I have to go through. So every time I get his paperwork, I make sure the scientific name is correct. The genus and species is listed because I know those delays can cause issues for the client. So I use, like I said, documentation review is very important.
Yes, for sure. Because even with the port, we used to, back in the day, we would have customs come onto the terminals and check all of, customs at random checks or when they want to check certain containers. But now we have CESs, custom exam stations. So they're pulled out and we have 3 locations where they can go and customs takes their time and looks through it. And like you said, that's the agency you don't want to get in trouble with because they can hold the cargo as long as they want to hold it and they feel fit to come into the U.S. or exit the U.S. Talking with the Baltimore tragedy, it really was a very bad incident. And I'm going to ask Rado, with the tragedy in Baltimore, how did the Port of New York and New Jersey help and assist that cargo?
It was unfortunate. It was definitely a tragedy, and I'm really happy to hear and have read that they're making very much progress in reopening the port and getting the ships to go back in and out of the port once again. During that time, a lot of the carriers immediately called on to the other ports, including the Port of New York, New Jersey, to discharge the Baltimore freight so that we can release the cargo here. So since then, as you may already know, that every port operates differently. They have different requirements, different regulations, different registration. So since then, we have actually received 765 Baltimore trucks to work with that register with the Port of New York, New Jersey, and operate here and to be able to pick up those containers from that 765 trucks, actually from 135 trucking companies that's actually located in Baltimore. So our focus has always been the fluidity of freight into the United States, right? Maintaining the supply chain to remain fluid. So in addition to that, we're also communicated with the rail operators to be able to transfer the freight from the Port of New York to Baltimore by rail rather than by truck in the event that there's no trucking capacity available. So that was actually being used by some of the importers through the carriers. So that's some way that we were able to help, and we continue to do that.
Ken, what happened in Baltimore happen here in the Port of New York and New Jersey?
It's hard to say. I guess anything can happen, right? If you want to look at it that way. But I'm not an engineer. I studied a little bit, but never really made it that far. But after speaking to a number of people, including the pilots in the area, as well as the tugboat operators, it may be unlikely, but again, it's difficult to say.
Yeah. I know every port is a little bit different. Like our gateway, when we raise the Bayonne Bridge, we don't have those, middle pillars that a vessel could, unfortunately hit into. And I know that we're very secure, high security into our ports and our pilots that bring in the vessels and stuff like that. So it's good to see that we are very safe and secure into our gateway.
Try.
We do. Hamid, listen, I have a question. Someone wants to know, how many years have you been in the business? Because I forgot how long it's been.
It's over 4 decades, but in US since last 24 years.
That's great. And I know you explained before what an NVO is and the benefits of it. How can you help people understand the logistics part of their cargo movement, where you being the NVO and everything you could do for them? So if I'm a customer, I come to you, what are the steps that you would help me to move a container?
Right. We'll first check it out. What is the nature of cargo? And we'll try to give them we'll try to help them in how to do packaging to minimize the space and maximize the profit. So that's where we start. Then we take care of what is the destination and what are the requirements for those destination. Because of our experience, we alert them in advance to take care, so that before they start actual shipping, they can really they will know what is going to happen, and they are covered with everything. That's how we help.
And that's really important, right? Because like I said, many people don't know how to logistically move their cargo, and they don't need a full container. They could be consolidated cargo that can move to the same destination.
Yeah, custom clearance for outbound or inbound, that also they don't know what are the documents. Then we have all that knowledge, and we use like Gmail and all those things where we use the third parties for custom clearance, and we help them with all the information in advance. Information and education, that's what we try to do.
And that's perfect, right? Because you do want to educate them, where when they come to the next time, they're more prepared and less back and forth with you, and they understand the logistics part of the moving of their cargo.
That's right.
How are you protecting the cargo from the Red Sea and other security issues currently happening in the supply chain? How are you assisting in protecting more of if an ocean carrier has to go through the Red Sea?
Right. Unfortunately, we have very limitation for that, because there are carriers like Maersk and all, they are routing all their shipments, and we make very well aware to our customers that how much extra time it's going to take and what extra cost it's going to. But there are a few sometimes, like mostly Chinese carriers, which they are crossing Suez Canal, but they also have their own limitations. So now it's a catch-22 situation where if they want to use some good service carriers like Maersk and all, they have to pay, unfortunately, a bit extra and extra time. But yeah, we keep them informed in advance. And for our repeated customer, we always tell them, listen, now things have changed, so please inform your customer so that they are aware that they are going to get a little later than earlier.
Yeah, and understandable, right? So as cargo is moving, and like we saw on the West Coast during COVID, where they had 100 of vessel waiting to get in the gateway, people had to then shift and move their product to the East Coast, and changing maybe some of their suppliers just to avoid some of those delays.
Absolutely.
Okay, I have one for Jamil. It's a question about CBP seal procedure. What do you see when people don't follow the CBP process, and has their clients always had insurance coverage, or most of the time not?
Reference to the insurance coverage, most clients that I've dealt with usually don't have insurance, honestly. They usually have, when they do have issues, I suggested to them, like I referred Monica to someone before, for a plant. I think he imported plants and they had pests on the plants and they had to destroy it because there's no treatment for it. So I suggested, hey, you might want to get cargo insurance next time so that you can get some of your money back. You won't lose out on everything. And the other question again with the seal procedures, I have seen issues where when I worked for an importer before, where the seal number actually changed and we didn't realize, I think it was customs actually inspected it. So we had to do a little digging just to find out who touched the freight because you don't know who's touching it now. And then we were able to confirm it was checked by, I think it was customs. And so we just jotted down, you should be following the procedures because you want to make sure none of your goods were tampered with by anybody. Because remember, it's your freight, and especially if you're selling, it was a medical device company. Imagine a medical devices being tampered with, that would be a big deal. So you want to really know who's touching your stuff. So you should have the supplier on your check on, you should make sure when you receive your freight, it matches up with what the supplier put on the bill of lading and just everything's just matching up everything. That's all I do. When I see discrepancies, question everything because that's how you know something happened. So, and then follow up to find out what happened, who touched it. If it's customs, you're like, okay, it's just customs, but write it down so that if anything comes up later, you cover yourself, like an audit or anything like that. Customs might question, well, what happened when you had a change of your seal? Who touched it? So they might question you. So if you actually follow up and write these procedures down, now they know that you're doing your part, your due diligence. Remember, that's very important. They actually have reasonable care. Check out their informed compliance publication on reasonable care. Do your due diligence and practice reasonable care to cover yourself. So any audits that come up, you don't have any issues. That's what you want to do.
That's really important. And when is the best time to connect with a custom broker? I'm an importer. I want to bring cargo in. When is the best time to connect with you to ensure I'm doing everything properly?
Oh yeah, I always say do it before you even buy anything, honestly, because let's say you can't even import it. It's not allowed to be imported. Now you just spent money on something. It's already here. I actually had that happened to me. Someone contacted me and they imported prawns, but they didn't have the import permit. They didn't have all the documentation. I told them there's nothing I could do for you because even if you get the permit, if you don't have all the other documentation, I can't even transmit it. So do your due diligence before you purchase anything. Check the duty rates because maybe it'll be cheaper for you to get it in the US instead of buying it overseas. So it's just you taking extra time to make sure you cover yourself and not waste money on things that you can't even import in the first place.
No, that makes a lot of sense. Make sure you have all of your supply chain in order and knowing what needs to be done before any holdups when you purchase something.
Cool.
I know there was a question from the audience. Is anyone here doing import-export to the UK? I'd be interested in knowing which problems still exist for Brexit, Brexit. I am British, so people ask all the time. I am unaware of that. If Hamid or Jamil know anything about that port or any issues that are going on there?
I haven't heard of anything recently. I know before there was some extra duties on some stuff in the UK, but I don't remember exactly what products they were. So like I said, if you do your due diligence, whatever product you intend to import or export, just check the duty rates for that country.
Yes.
Yeah, as far as the shipping is concerned, there is nothing much, only it affects on the custom clearance or duties wise. But shipping is as normal as it was since Brexit happened.
Okay. And then there was another one. Can anyone answer how can we curtail an inspection by CES if possible? I know Tracy asked that. Do you mean view the inspection? You can take yourself off mute if you'd like, Tracy, to ask that question.
Hi, everybody. What I mean is like if a customer is shipping from another country, and how can you possibly keep your shipment from being flagged to keep the detention days down? Yeah. Because CES can eat up all of your detention time. Yeah. And so is there anything that the shipper could actually do on their part to keep it from, this particular shipment was grocery items. So, Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
I can suggest that you should use CT-PAT certified partners or brokers who are involved, so that they can give you a full in advance how to take your cargo into the compliance. First of all, CT-PAT stands for the Custom and Trade Partners Against Terrorism. So that will save you a lot of time. Normally, when you move with a CT-PAT certified brokers or freight forwarders, and you comply with that, that will definitely take out this kind of red flags. That is very important for that. That's one of the things. And Jamel may be able to give something more.
Yeah, I would say check, well, it's part of CT-PAT too, but check your supply chain for forced labor, anything like that, that would make customs want to stop your shipment. So if you have issues with forced labor in your supply chain, they will stop your shipment.
And Tracy,
When-
honestly, we
Thank you.
support, we work, yeah, you're welcome. We work directly with the CESs and customs, and if you ever have a question, definitely give myself, Rado, a call, and we can see where it's sitting at. But unfortunately, customs does their inspection on way of things that they may have seen coming in, a lot of random checks, and I mean, it is safer for us to check them, but I do understand sometimes that the charges can add up. But reach out to us, because there may be ways that we could talk to the CES facility or the carrier and see if we can help you.
okay, thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. Susan, I think that's all the questions we have in the chat.
Actually, we do
Anyone?
have that question,
Oh.
and I'm not sure who it was from. Does anyone have any comments on the interoceanic corridor of the Isthmus of, I'm going to say this name wrong, Tehuantepec, and how it will affect trade versus Panama Canal? If I totally ruin that word, is that something Rado or Hamid can answer?
I need to understand the question again. Can you repeat that, please?
Yeah. Well, whoever wrote that question, if you want to ask it, it's somebody Global Chamber. I don't think it's
That was
Doug.
me. That was me, Susan.
Cesar,
Hi,
please
everyone.
ask it. Please ask
Yeah,
it.
there's a transoceanic project in Mexico that is trying to compete with the Panama Canal, and they're trying to be more effective and cheaper when it comes to trade. So I was asking generally to the panel if there's something that they can add to that.
Rado or Hamid or anybody?
Really, I'm not very well. If you want to avoid, you mean you want to avoid the Panama Canal for faster transit?
Yeah,
There's
I'm
a
not very
project in
familiar.
Mexico. Yeah, there's a project in Mexico competing with that. I've been through our chapters there. I've been hearing a lot about that. And it's to compete with the Panama Canal and be cheaper and faster and all that. I heard that you were talking about the Panama Canal, Jamel specifically. So that's why I remember about that.
Well, I think it's a good thing, honestly, because if they have the drought right now and you can't get as much vessels through, the more places you can go through, the better. So I would take advantage of it if you can. Hopefully it works out very good. I don't know how long it's been in place, but yeah, take advantage of any opportunities to move your freight.
So if it's a Pacific cargo arriving on the East Coast, and you can use the land bridge, which is from the LA to New York or LA to other locations. So that land bridge will help for faster transit, but it may cost you a little more.
And I think we had one other question here, Nicole. Do we get in touch with FDA for the clearance of beauty wellness products to see if we can import it and sell it in the US, or do we get in touch with the importer customs?
I'll leave that to Jamel.
FDA is regulating cosmetics right now, so you guys have to get registered. I think it's July 1st. So go on FDA.gov, look up MOCRA, MOCRA, and start getting registered, guys, because before you know it, they're going to probably stop us from transmitting because you're going to be missing numbers that we need. Get your FDA registration. I think the actual products have to be listed with FDA, kind of like a medical device now. So you guys got to get that in order. You're kind of running out of time. So start reading those regulations.
Okay, I think that's all the questions that we got in the chat. Nicole, did you want to do any type of wrap up or?
I mean, I just want to thank everyone that took their time today to hear from, different people that move cargo into our gateway. It's important to hear different angles of it and the importance of getting your paperwork together, knowing your suppliers, knowing that cargo coming into the East Coast gateway, because I could speak to that because I work for the Port of New York and New Jersey, is safe, secure. We want to make sure that goods move and we have no more delays. So I thank everyone. I thank the Global Chamber for letting us have this platform. Thank you, Susan.
And everyone on the panel, please share your contact information. I just got a direct question, Hamid, for your contact info. So if you could please put that in the chat. But Jermiel, Rado, obviously, and Nicole, please make sure your information is there. But Hamid, put your info in the chat right now. You have a request. And
Okay.
I do want to apologize on behalf of Monica Varas. I guess she had a double duty today where she was doing a presentation in Mexico and we weren't able to address questions to her. So I think that Hamid addressed a lot of the insurance issues already, but if you have any direct questions for Monica, please feel free to share them with us. I wanted to thank everybody for attending. We had a lot of good questions. It was a very interactive Globinar, and I just wanted to let people know that the next scheduled event that the Global Chamber New York City is working on will be July 18th, 12 noon. We're going to have, right now I have 2 leading women who are going to be speaking on DEI, and we are trying to fill out that Globinar on issues around leadership in DEI. So watch for that July 18th, 12 noon Eastern. I can't name off all the other time zones, but yeah, that will be up on the calendar soon. And we have a time for one more question from the attendees. If anyone has a random question they'd ask, please feel free to ask it. You can unmute yourself and ask the question. Is there anyone here that wants to ask a question that hasn't been put in the chat? Okay.
No pressure.
No pressure.
Can everybody see my contact email address?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
Great.
I think everything in the chat here, Nicole, I think are just people sharing information, but we can leave it open for 2 more minutes, and certainly everyone feel free to network and talk here if you want, if anyone wants to.
Yeah, I'd like to say something. I didn't have a question, but I had a comment. This is so timely. I had seen it pop up on my email, but then today my calendar opened up and I said, yes, let me jump on. And the reason why it's timely, because I'm working with a country who's talking about shipping and containers and and I had no clue. I mean, I'm just sitting there because I'm naive to this. And today it was like a wealth of information and I'm writing all these notes down. So great conversation, great discussion, great panel of speakers. Thank you all so much for hosting this. I really needed it.
Okay, that's great, Stephanie. And by the way, it has been recorded. So,
yes,
anything you need to catch up on. Sorry, Nicole, I interrupted you. Go ahead.
Oh, that's okay. I was going to say, Steph, if you need anything, don't hesitate to reach out. And, we definitely have a lot of connections on where we sit, terminal operators, ocean carriers, truckers, warehousing. And, we're here. Rado and our job is to promote and help facilitate cargo movement. So we are here to help anyone that wants to do that.
I will be tapping on you all's shoulders.
I think Chris Kamakis has a question. Chris, do you want to unmute or you're just saying hi? Chris?
Oh, no, I'm just clapping.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
And I do want to give a heads up. Nicole, Jermiel, and I are planning a tour of the Port of New York, New Jersey. We don't have the actual date set up, but it will be sometime in September. So we will get the word out on Global Chamber. So there will be a tour so you can actually go down and get granular and understand it better.
Nice.
Okay.
Rado will be there as well, but I thought it would be great for the Global Chamber and some of your members, for Rado, myself, and our other colleague, JP, to show you the gateway, even if you can't get into the terminals, to show you what the terminals look like on a windshield tour. And we could do a port briefing, digging more into what our advantages of this gateway is.
So that's Stephanie. I guess you got to come up to New York
Yes,
and
Stephanie,
visit.
you'll have
Well,
to
you know,
come.
I'm from New York, so I mean, that makes a reason for me to come in September, so.
Right, right. Okay, well, I want to make sure the room is open for other Globinars, and I want to thank everybody for participating, and we will talk soon.
All right,
Take
thank you
care.
guys.
Thank you.
Great job.
Bye.
Great job. Bye-bye.
Bye.